Yeah, hello, Mr. Holder.
Hey, hi.
Yeah, this is Wayne. Wayne, this is Mr. Holder.
Wayne, it was a pleasure to unofficially meet you. This is quite an unpredictable meeting, but I guess it was. When things are ordained, it tends to happen on its own accord, and it's not a decision we have to make. We just have to align with what is presented in front of us. So, good morning, Mr. Wayne. Pleasure to meet you.
Great light to you, brother.
Yeah. So the person who invited me into this conversation, I told them to just sporadically do it. Let it happen. Put us all on the spot, unexpectedly, because it would allow a sort of organic exchange.
Yes.
So I don't want to bomb the conversation. I don't know what I stepped into, so I don't have much time. But I guess I will just listen for a bit and see where I can continue.
I'm speaking on those that ate from the tree of good and evil. Have gained the knowledge of God, or is God, to think good and evil thoughts, to say a certain type of or a certain group can go in a place to drink water or not. That's the tree of good and evil. To say that a gender, to even have gender, is that tree of good and evil. But to say that a certain gender can play sports or not, that's the tree of good and evil. That's an example. The whole system is the tree of good and evil. In the centers of the garden, CENTERS, center, in the centers of the garden, in the centers, which is the system. I feel it's literally talking to me. Like I'm the only man that can see. I'm the only man that's been using my eyes since I've been using them. And I see I in the beginning in the book, in the beginning, or I in the beginning. So to me, that's that same moment of let there be light when my eyes open. When I realize light, what humans or Earth call light. So I was trying to point out how the elementary in the center, CENTERS, of the garden is that tree. No one should eat the apple on the teacher's desk. No one should eat the application on the teacher's desk. When you eat of that fruit, you will gain the knowledge of good and evil, and you will be like God. But when you eat from the tree of life, there is only life. Because when I'm alive, what is death? What is those people that's claiming that people have went through a stage of something called death? When I'm alive, what is that? So to me, there is. Go ahead, brother.
So you're saying when you're alive, that's different?
Yeah, when you're alive, what is death? When you are the one that's alive calculating something called death. You're alive calculating. If you kind of get what I'm saying? If you are the living, then what is death?
So it's like it doesn't really exist to us.
To me, yeah, yes, to me. When you eat from that tree, then you learn of the mortuary and the mortgages, and you learn to go on diets, and You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Transcendental. May I interject? Or
Go ahead, brother.
transcendental knowledge is a fascinating phenomenon. Just a big, pretentious term for knowledge that exists outside the three-dimensional, the 3D plane, three-dimensional physical plane. Knowledge of the immaterial, eternal, everlasting essence of self and the soul, etc. I'm listening to you, Dwayne, and clearly there's a lot of insight because you're obviously capable of decoding language or linguistic model, which was basically a spell created by the demiurge to control and hold us under mental bondage. And transcendental knowledge is such a vast, exponential, infinitely vast field of knowledge that sometimes we have to isolate a tiny snippet and address that area. My point for saying this is one particular video which drew me, it sucked me into the situation was a particular video called You Will Overcome. And you were specifically trying to address a particular type of experience from a quite salient perspective. It was quite obvious. He keeps stressing it over and over. It's right there. That what you're experiencing is a byproduct, right, of your you could call it the metaphysical phenomenon, extrasensory perception, working reversely against us, and they are convincing us that what they are experiencing is something that is objectively independent of their experience. The fascinating irony is during the exchange, you keep stressing that. This nuance keeps playing out throughout the entire dialogue, and a lot of these individuals, they're not getting it, and you even said it, they're not getting it. And at some given point, you even mentioned that demons don't get it, and it felt like, wow, it's almost as if in the midst of the light, there are these forces that's battling and working. Because I'm trying to decipher what you're trying to say, and it's almost as if these same so-called spiritual allies we have in the exchange, in the dialogue, in the stream, in and of itself, is working or channeling as some sort of dark forces. So they're dualistic. They're both light and dark, because at the same time they're with you, but they're interrupting you because, I got it. I say, okay, I get what he's trying to say. It is our ability reversed and working against us. We are affecting this. We are creating, it's extrasensory perception. Mind's eye, mind and matter, substance and its attribute. And when you speak, you're coming from one aspect, you come from an alchemical perspective, the transmutation of which is a metaphor for metal into gold. You could decode language. Education, intelligence, knowledge, wisdom, and cognizance all can be deciphered from the ability from decoding language. And this knowledge is not in books, and it's really a sort of knowledge, cognizance, or clarity. Or cognizance is clarity and discernment. That is really given directly from the source.
Yes, my father. What some call father. Yes.
Yes.
Amen, brother.
I say, my apology, I forgot you. You say father, I say source, because I try to...
See, but I can explain what I'm saying, though. Like, when I throw my ball, father, then you come, right? I throw my ball, father, then you. Then, so what I mean is, FARTHER is FATHER to me. It's the same thing. So, as far as my eye can see, with sunrise and sunset, with the source light, it's the same thing. I'm just saying that people's perception of what I'm saying, I am Father in heaven. Like I throw my ball, Father than you. So if you see me, you have seen the Father, because I am Father in heaven. I'm in heaven, my flesh on earth. We in heaven, if we can call it that. See, these are titles. But when you look at the word heaven, the he avenue, which is the literally or the literal alley. The sunlight is literally. Sunlight is literal or literally, which is the alley. Literally, alley, alley, literally, right? Liter alley, literally. So the litter, yes. So the litter alley is in my face, or the lighter alley, the litter alley, the lighter alley. It's in my face, which is the literal light, literally, which is literal.
Yeah, light in and of itself has so many. What that interpretation is from a language interpretation, the literal and the non-literal. You know, again, I always say we're dealing with transcendental knowledge of the immaterial, and it's infinitely large. You know, light is also a metaphor. You know,
yes.
when some individuals claim that they're being targeted, which you keep expressing throughout the exchange, that is quite the opposite. Is our power being used against us from a reverse perspective, and we're under some sort of spell. Because when we use the term, you can see them, it's light. Light in the sense of light. You see, language is a man-made mental concept, and it's ineffective and it's very inefficient when it comes to expressing intangible concepts. Furthermore, things that deal with spirituality or transcendental, anything that deal with the eternal, the soul, the spirit, the eternal essence or everlasting being, it's really sort of ineffective. But light in and of itself is like a metaphor. Light means that our essence, our indispensable qualities, such as acknowledgement, appreciation, gratitude, and homage. Light meaning that it shows. Darkness is basically a metaphor for whatever the essence of this person is unseen. It's covered up. We don't see it. And light, when you say you can see them, it means that our light shines upon the darkness and we unfold. We see a person for what they are. We see where their essence, their soul is dim, where their light in their soul has lost its spark, and when their ego has
sunk in place.
Right, and that ego has taken over. And this dark entity has permeated their psyche, right, and infiltrate them, and so they are unconscious instrument in a much grander orchestra navigating.
Eight in front of tree of good and evil.
Right.
They under spells.
Right.
They understand how to spell.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
So
while claiming it.
Right. So while listening to your video, you will overcome. There were things you were saying that was precise, exact, and relevant, and resonated with you. I said, okay, I got what he's saying. Let's get past this now. And it was almost impossible for you to get past it because it's like they wasn't getting what you were saying.
No, listen. It's all by design. Due to I feel like if I drop this glass down these steps, I feel I'll be using the dustpan and broom. I can see it already. So due to I can see it, I feel that I'm the one determined when they jump out, or I'm the one determined that they never jump out again. I'm the one that determines when I get off what I get off, because what I'm doing is dropping the glass down the steps and going to get the dustpan and broom later on, because I can see it already. You kind of get what I'm saying?
Yeah. What you say, I kind of understand why others may have a misconception and misperception of you, because what you just said is so deeply profound, but it's expressed through such a simplistic metaphor. And it's from the perspective of, again, our inability to understand the leverage of our mental capacity. How infinite the possibilities are when we work in through the Father or the source code or whatever universal term that could another person could relate to bring them into this space. So you're using simplistic metaphors with profound implications, So again, but then you said if a person doesn't get it, then again, it's the sort of ordained process. A person has to go down this rabbit hole to find that sort of awakening on their own.
For one, the ones that's not getting it, it's their alter ego or their adult, and the one that I feel that in the second place, they're afraid, and that adult, which is demanding, is demanding. It has the one that loves to bow down to it. They understand. It has that one to bow down to them, so they go into the second place, and the adult take over. It's not them.
Right.
So to me, it was for you to see, like for you to come here and do this, what you're doing now. This is what I seen. You kind of get what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. And I think on a much more deeper divine level that this meeting was orchestrated and was divinely planned, because I kind of requested, there was a particular type of exchange, there was a particular type of individual I requested yesterday, and I got that confirmation. But the way the Father work is, there's a knowing, but we can never predict how it's going to unfold. It's going to unfold, but we can never predict the way in which it's going to unfold and how it will come. So that is the unpredictable aspect of it. But it's going to unfold. That is an absolute certainty. So here I am before you, and it's kind of like, I kind of felt like I encountered a particular type of individual who kind of understand what's really going on here. So, let's step into this space. Mind, matter, substance, attribute, third eye, extrasensory perception. What aspect of our mind is allowing these situations to unfold? How do we alter, modify, augment it? But you couldn't get into the essence of what you were trying to say, because you were simultaneously trying to help a situation during the interaction, but there were also conflicts. Because you're saying it's you, and the person keeps going on and on and on. So on one hand, I felt like I found what I was searching for, but at the same time, I felt like walking into a battleground where there were both forces simultaneously. You with me?
Doppelganger.
Right. Doppelganger. And they keep referring to black magic and occults and all the secret organization, and what they fail to take into consideration is that, well, they are manipulating energy. We are the source of it. We have the ability to produce. They are incapable. There's a reason why we're stuck in this prison, because they are incapable of producing this energy. We are the source. We are the source of it. We are above and beyond indispensable. Invaluable is an understatement. Are you kidding me? They need to manipulate this energy. We can produce it. So their rituals is basically just our simple, mere desire. And this is what they don't want us to become aware of.
That you're the only one thinking.
Say again?
That you are the only one thinking.
Right. You could just, if you look at words in and of itself, it's all decodable. I mean, look at the word, what's the word? The word is called believe. If you look at the word believe, B-E, right? L-I-B-E. L-I, be-lie. It's become be-lie. And believe is really, believe is accepting without evidence. But when you really look at the etymology, you break down believe. It's be, lie, right? And now faith, right? Faith is the confidence. in what I accept without evidence. So now the VE is removed from believe, and now you have B, lie, and now they add the F, it becomes a belief. So I always had a problem with ideas like belief and faith. I said, no, that says be lie. I should not have a belief. I should not accept. I should have absolute certainty. So I removed the word believe. Do I believe in? No. Do I believe in the Father? Do I believe in the Son? No. I don't have belief. I have absolute certainty.
Now I have belief. No, but let me tell you. I'm talking meta, mother nature. So the bumblebee, he come, he goes, which is believe. So he is black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. Then you get to the wings, which is 8, infinite. And then you get the sunrise with the thorax. So to me, the bumblebee in the leaf of the tree is telling me, I believe. So the sun come, the sun go, the sun rise, the sun set. He say, I believe in you. Like I believe in you by yourself, or I believe in you. It's the same thing.
Right, but with the father, sorry, go ahead.
Say we were standing together and you walked away and went around a corner. You just be left. You believe. It's the same moment what people call death. That's the same thing. When you go out of my senses, you just believe. It's the way we talk. It's
yeah,
like
but
go ahead, brother.
With the Father, you see on the three-dimensional material plane, this physical plane, this dense material plane, humans are biologically predisposed to absolute. And we need a kind of absolute. We find ambiguity and stuff like that. It's just combobulating. We can't deal with confusion. So believe it's not about.
Go to the first word. Go to the living word.
Right.
Bumblebee. Leaf of the tree.
Right.
Before we ever found belief in any sentence.
Right. I guess my point for saying is that that's one interpretation of the belief. I have an interpretation of belief. And what the Father is trying to express is the multiple interpretations of belief.
Mm-hmm.
And all the myriads of different ways we can see the word belief. So I see belief from one perspective, and now I see it from another perspective.
Yes, it's only for those that have the ears to hear it.
Right, and the source code is... when it comes to the source, we'll always be dealing with stuff like ambiguity, paradoxes, contradictory, things that don't really make sense, but it does make sense if you understand that we're dealing in the immaterial plane, the eternal immaterial, the transcendental plane where we exist eternally. Material laws don't apply to this gravity, special and general relativity. None of that stuff applies to these planes. So we have to kind of look at things from a different perspective. How could something be light and dark? How could two opposing forces be contingent on each other, but yet they're part of this wholesome perfection?
But when you alive, like I was saying, what is death? So when that sun come, when that light come, it strips the darkness away. It strips darkness. So you can see the texture of leaves and skin. Read the text, which to me is true living word. So when one is alive, what is death? What is this darkness? What is it? When you are the one observing, when you the observer is the light. So you're the observer of this dark and you're the observer of this light. What is death? You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, but they work simultaneously. They're dualistic phenomenon. Wherever you find one, you find the other.
Okay, so it's like the dead is saying the alive is over there finding one, finding the other. Like it's like that's what they're over there saying. And to me, I feel you, the only one that can see, or me, that moment of what you would call death for me is that I'm alive. Period.
Well, yeah, I mean, I have a literal interpretation. I mean, wherever you find a profound ego, you find a dead soul. Wherever when there's a spark in our soul, it ignites the fire in our soul, our spirit comes alive, our essence come into being, the ego dies. So metaphorically or analogically or however we define it, wherever we find life and death seems to occur simultaneously. You know, where mind discovers himself, he loses a dark part of himself. So
yeah, he loses that darkness because he realized he is whole life.
Right, so light and dark, they're kind of contingent in each other. There's a sort of equilibrium, right, in a literal and a non-literal, and a abstract or figurative sense.
I feel the observer of the dark is the light, period.
Right, but to be the light requires observing the dark. And it's a fascinating phenomenon because one is observed through the reference of the other. In that particular video where you said you will overcome, and you keep stressing to some of these targeted individuals that you're the only one can see. But the irony is they can see simultaneously. They're blind because you're expressing a phenomena that's occurring within their ability to see, which is they are under a spell.
Yes. So it's hard to realize it when you're talking the spell.
Right. So you have to be blind to see, and you have to be able to be. They work simultaneously.
But due to I can see into the earth before I came into the earth.
Right.
I was murdered as a child, and when I came, me, the one talking to you, I was already walking. I was already walking, old enough to walk, if you can say it that way.
Right.
I never did the moment of learning to walk, to me. So to me, I just appeared, to me. So due to I went through that, I've been aware ever since.
Spiritually immune.
Say that again.
Is a sort of spiritually immune. It predisposes you to a sort of awareness. You know,
yeah.
On the three-dimensional physical plane, we call it extrasensory perception. I'm in both places simultaneously. You know, I'm in a radical materialist area, and I'm in a staunch idealist. I'm in two places simultaneously because I discovered there's an area that science dismisses or can quantify. And
because I am here, I am not here.
Right. When I say the Father exists, but he's non-existent simultaneously, it's an understandable paradox. And one of the things I understand that why I need to learn science, why I need to learn spirituality, why I need to learn, because omni derived from the Latin term, and you know it means all. Omniscience means all is knowledge. The Father is all knowledge. So I can't dismiss any knowledge. I have to embrace all, because omniscience is all knowledge. The Father is all knowledge, right? All knowing.
He knows all.
All. They say all.
Which is
all.
Literally.
Yes.
Just the literal, right? Like.
I had no idea I did not anticipate this, you know. I ran into you last night and I played you in the background while I worked all night. Yeah. The things you were saying I said, wow, it's actually the first time I encounter someone who this person gets it. Like, it's you. And I'm saying, yes, I'm doing this. And I experimented on this stuff many times where I flipped the script. I will flip the script and envision myself just hypothetically as, I'm a king and everyone is coming to me, bowing. But while they're bowing to me, I am serving them.
Amen.
And I saw the physical plane unfold. It's so malleable. It's so susceptible to change. It reconfigures itself in real time before it's just a captivating phenomenon. To realize that this existence is nothing remotely close to what I perceive it to be, but it is. As long as I become aware of it is not what I perceive it to be, but yet it is what I perceive it to be. And it is, you see what I mean?
I'm with you.
So it is not what we perceive it to be by understanding that, hey, what we are perceiving it to be is exactly what it will be. And once we understand that, we realize that, hey, reality is not what we perceive it to be. This thing seems to be governed by exactly what we perceive it to be. And I think you're the only person who will grasp what I'm trying to tell you. See what I mean?
I'm with you.
With respect to everyone else. I don't know who else is in the room. I don't know if it's just us. I have no idea who else is in the room.
Perception.
Right.
Perceive is telling us through that, right?
Right. And I remember you saying something, you will overcome. You mentioned false prophets and commercial spiritualism and all this stuff. And when the person mentioned us interacting, I said, just set it up spontaneously. Let it happen unexpectedly. Because clearly you can see. And if you can see, you can know. And I said, I want to speak to this person. Like, he knows. And you will know if the person is a light or not, because when they express themselves, either it will resonate with you on a deep psychic level, or it will not. Like, you'll just know. Because I always feel like light beings, it has nothing to do with what we say. It has nothing to do with our behavior. Like, I saw you with a cigarette. I heard you curse. I heard you discuss sex. And I said, this guy get it. Because commercial spiritualism attribute spirituality or divine relationship with the Father as inherent behavior.
Amen, brother. Right. I am Christ. I am.
Right, and so they attribute spirituality to inherent behavior. And expecting all that nicety, that unconditional love, and all that bullshit. And it's really about our intrinsic nature, which is a sort of authentic quality about our essence and an energy that we radiate that only we with the DNA blueprint can pick up on each other. You can't replicate that. You can't replicate that. You could put on the druzy eyes, you could put on all the fake commercial spiritualism, you could have the behavior, and you can fool people. But a person should be able to come here and say, fuck, and you know that this person is a light being regardless. Because it has nothing to do with your unconditional love. It has to do with your authentic. It has to do with our indispensable quality, our intrinsic nature. There's a sort of authenticity about us. And in that authenticity is a kind of imperfection. And the Father wants us to understand that imperfection is really perfection. And we need to switch from that misconception of imperfection and understand that it is really I am perfection. Yeah. I went off on a tirade. I apologize. Hello?
It's okay. It's okay. I gotta go cook for my mother and my sisters. I told them I was gonna cook something for them today.
Oh, me too. But this we have to go do work. But this was fun, sir.
Hey, yeah, I enjoyed talking with you. Can we talk again?
Absolutely. But the way these things work, man,
I know.
Let the Father decide.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Yeah. So, nice talking to you.